Ladies and gentlemen, the best show that you have all been looking for, and you can find us here each and every night on Armstrong Cable. This is the RYSE Report. I am the Rev Ron Hunt.
One-man multiverse, DK Abel.
And you know we're here to do exactly what we've been doing each and every time that you're tuning in. If you don't know, like my man said, now you know. We are here at the old cinema behind the Laurel Mall. This is 1952 University Drive, this Stronghold Wrestling Arena, and we're here to talk about everything that has happened all throughout the night of the previous RYSE event here on Armstrong Cable. And listen, I understand, DK, we have a lot of things we're going to talk about all throughout the night.
We had David Lawless starting off the show. He came out, he wanted to air a little piece of his mind. He decided to complain and whine a little bit about the fact that he thinks he was the original rule bender of RYSE. And he's noticed that as of late, you have System Elite and Grindhouse breaking rules the same way David Lawless has, and for whatever reason, he thinks that belongs to him. So he complained about that, and then he decided, for whatever reason, to put on a karate demonstration.
Hold on. Listen, the ref's been trying to get through this. I'm sick of you spreading this fake news. It's not karate. We're dealing, add respect to the name, Tang-Soo Lawless. Tang-Soo Lawless.
Well, the Tang-Soo Lawless presentation, as you describe it, was basically Lawless's own form of martial arts, where he prepares to demonstrate some high caliber move.
Tang-Sooing.
He looks like he's going to do something, and then he cheap shots the guy, which I don't know how you get off calling that martial arts, but that's what Lawless tried to do. He's got the Rev in his corner, apparently.
I mean, I personally love you calling it a cheap shot. I call it being a mastermind. I mean, the art form that's behind Tang-Soo and from the master himself, Tang-Soo Lawless, is to do things that they do not expect, and that's exactly what he did. However, there was a gentleman by the name of TKD that did not quite see eye to eye. He wanted to come down and, I guess what you call, add a little bit respect to the sport of martial arts, karate per se, like you say, I say Tang-Soo, but he wanted to add a little bit of respect to it. It turns out at the end, Tang-Soo Lawless did exactly what he does best, whatever means necessary, and he got the win, just like the martial art genius that he is, DK.
If that is legitimately the martial art of Tang-Soo Lawless, yes, he performed it expertly. He competed in a match, and he used some cheap, unfair tactics to get a victory over the martial artist who was attempting to defend his craft to no avail.
Well, speaking of cheap, I'm going to tell you guys this right now. Stay tuned after this break. We're going to run some commercials because this cheapskate has to pay some bills. The Rev has already blessed himself. We'll see you guys back in a second.
There's no...
That's like a McDonald's, buddy.
There's no ad... Where are you going? All right, we're back from those imaginary commercials sponsored by the Rev and his root beer. And we're going to go into the next match. Tony Johnson take on Lee Moriarty.
The Iceman, Ice Cold Tony Johnson.
Ice Cold Tony Johnson is actually on fire right now. He got a victory over Brandon Kay last month through controversial means. He got another one over Lee Moriarty, again through controversial means.
I think when looking at this, a lot of times you just look at controversy, because you don't agree with it. Unfortunately, there's not many times I agree with you, DK, but I think we can kind of draw the line on both of this. These are some of the top elite athletes in all of this sport, and it just so happens, regardless if you like one or don't like the other, they're both right here at RYSE. Right here that you can see every single week, including the very next event that we have going on, I believe, on June 1st here at University Drive.
Way to work that in.
That's
right. You can catch us here behind the Laurel Mall, the old cinema, 1952 University Drive. Next month, we'll be here again. But back to this show.
Yes.
Tony Johnson and Lee Moriarty, as you were saying, controversy between two men, but it wasn't just between two men. Christian Noir came out, tried to disrupt the match with his own mist, his poison mist, his dark mist, whatever he calls his mist. But he missed the mist.
I thought it was holy water.
When you think that, that's what that's what you're seeing when you look at Christian Noir, then I got to tell people they probably shouldn't be going to your church.
You know the story about the clay and the spit. We'll get to that.
All right,
later.
we'll get to that.
The mist that tastes like Listerine, smells like pepper spray.
I haven't been hit by Christian's mist. Lee Moriarty did not get hit with it either. He ducked, but the distraction was enough for Tony Johnson to capitalize. Lee turned around, caught a big ice pick kick. Yes. From Tony Johnson, turned him inside out. It was devastating to say the least.
One of the most brutal things that I've ever seen.
Definitely one of the most impactful moves we've seen at RYSE. Tony Johnson got the victory. He's on a roll, as I said. Lee, on the other hand, is not on a big roll right now at RYSE. The first grand champion has seen better days.
I think one of my main questions is, we've all seen, how Lee reacts under pressure. We've all seen how Lee reacts when he's at the top. And very few of us have seen how Lee reacts when he's not so much of a happy camper. My question is, how are we going to see him after this loss? We see a little bit of it, but I think we're going to see a little bit more. I don't think Lee Moriarty is quite done with his mission yet. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back, continuing to go on for what DK and I ironically both agree for once in our lives has been another impactful night of RYSE Wrestling here at the Stronghold Arena. And going right into it, the team of System Elite, and it wasn't the team of what you think it would be, as if it was Honey Bear, as if it was Drake Braddock and Lewis, because both Honey Badger and Lewis were on the injury shelf, causing for each one of their teammates to only have one healthy person, and that eventually end up merging the very own Keith Hott and Drake Braddock to team up with each other against System Elite.
Yeah, it was a bit of a misfortune for both Hott and Braddock. They had an opportunity for the tag titles, but neither of them with their actual partner. You would imagine you are more in sync with the person that you're used to teaming with. You have better strategy going in. You know what to do. Either opportunity probably would have worked out better for Hott and Badger or Drake and Lewis. But they tried to make the best of a bad situation. They came out having fun. It was May the 4th, so they came out with their lightsabers. But once the match started, it was all business. They came in hot. They looked pretty hot for a little bit.
No pun intended.
That's right. Keith always looks hot. Keith always looks hot. They looked pretty hot for a little bit, but then System Elite ended up getting the better of them. The finish saw Keith Hott being taken off the top rope by Drake inadvertently, and then Drake getting hit by a stunner off the top from Edric Everhart, yes, allowing System Elite to capitalize and maintain their tag titles. We've seen System Elite unfortunately take a turn into the dark side to play along with the May the 4th.
I see what you did there.
In recent months...
And I'm not your father.
I
know you're sad.
I never...
May the 4th be with you too, DK.
Okay.
One thing I wanted to say, and you definitely touched base on this too, was just as you saying, it could have played in both favors if either Drake Braddock or Keith Hott had their own individual partner. As you've noticed, I've noticed between working with other people, the more you work with them, the more unity you have with them, the more you have to say less, and you guys are naturally mentally in pace. Do you think, and this is a question to you and perhaps some of our viewers here on Armstrong Cable, do you think that the veteranship that System Elite has been having throughout well over close to a decade, if not a little bit longer, a little bit right under a decade.
What is it? Well over, close to, over, under?
Somewhere in the
They've been wrestling together for a decade,
depending on how
and they're
much
in
drink,
sync because of it. I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. They're in sync. Does
that play a factor though? Like the veteranship that they have as a team.
Yeah, absolutely. That is, in my opinion, in my estimation, probably the reason that they won. Because they knew each other better. They were able to capitalize on Hott and Braddock being out of sync. They were able to cause a misconnection between the two of them and capitalize. But like I said, we've been seeing the dark side of System Elite in recent months. They ran away with the belts before they emerged this month with a new ally.
They did not run away. They won. They wanted to get out before the crowd had pressed them because of the stars that they are. Once you win, you have to leave. You have to get away, go back to your hotel and chill until you catch your private jet. I'm not the only one that wants to leave and get on the private jet right after I win.
Oh, Rev, your revisionist history, it's frustrating, to say the least. It's frustrating. But you heard the story. System Elite victorious this one. We'll come back at you with the next match.
No commercial?
No commercial. We're going to go bang, bang, back into it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so RYSE Wrestling action continued with Christian Noir and Gannon Jones Jr. What was originally scheduled to be a tag team match between The Main Event and Grindhouse ended up turning into Gannon versus the opponent of his choosing because Duke Davis was mysteriously absent. We don't know the reasoning. Perhaps Grindhouse had something to do with it, but
now
that's
here you go.
That's only speculation. I'm being very clear.
I was about to say.
Being very, very clear about that. It's only speculation. Marcus Mann gave Gannon the option, and Gannon chose Christian Noir. I don't know if that was wise or not. The match ended up in I guess a disqualification is the outcome.
I think chaos, to say the least. I mean, it was almost like what happened the last event.
That's
where
what you can expect.
It starts in chaos, it ends in chaos. But when you have someone involving such as those of the Grindhouse, and now let's not make a mistake, one thing that you said is kind of just the turmoil of this match in general is because still, even though Gannon Jones Jr. had picked Christian Noir, we still did not see the end of Shirley Doe, and something of them looking in some type of cynical mindset of Shirley Doe and Christian Noir wanting to perhaps blind yet another wrestler in the locker room of RYSE, and ends up turning out the one and only Lee Moriarty, the apex of combat, comes out. Shirley Doe was diverted for a little bit of time. As soon as he turns around, his very own partner, Christian Noir, blinds him with the miss. And let's just say the chaos didn't stop there, DK.
That's right. Christian missed his poison mist for the second time of the night, which kind of sent Shirley Doe into a rampage, taking people out. The whole crew had to come out, including Christy, Brandon Kay's wife, who found herself in a precarious position. Shirley Doe basically taking her hostage. Looked like he was setting up to give her a DDT, a very devastating move, as all you wrestling fans know, until Brandon Kay luckily was able to come out and make the save for his wife and for his company. And Shirley Doe on his way out continuing to berate the situation. Grindhouse pretty much just wreaking havoc as they always do.
I think it's one of those things, and you mentioned, Christy coming to the ring, the officials coming to the ring, the announcer coming to the ring. Personally with me, I didn't really see anything wrong personally. I just feel like it was wrong place at the wrong time. I mean, Christy is a very helpful person. But it just so happens that when you're blinded, have you ever got hit with pepper spray or anything? You get a little crazy, let alone if you're a person like Shirley Doe. She wanted to help. She was in the wrong place at the wrong time. He probably thought he was grabbing a towel or something, felt her hair, thought it was a towel. It was accidentally her head.
Wasn't he screaming into a microphone at the time about the situation? He knew exactly what was going on. You don't go to DDT a towel. You need a timeout, I think, so that you can watch the video and understand what happened. Shirley Doe was on a rampage, and Rev seems to justify that, but I don't think Brandon would take too kindly to that justification. Brandon Kay was very upset, rightfully so. Shirley Doe very upset. I don't know how this is going to come to a head. I think the Grindhouse and RYSE Wrestling itself kind of have a feud going on here that we can expect to escalate in the coming months.
All right, guys. Now, ending out the night, it is the feature presentation match. A match that a lot of people knew was going to be hard-hitting because we pretty much had two behemoths in the ring. You like that? You like that? Two giants. The man, the big guy, PB Smooth, the giant, the one they say called a corner. Then we have the one and only Matt Connard, who we learned a little bit later. There's a certain something about him that not many fans would agree with if you don't know already, and we'll talk about that a little bit later.
Matt Connard, the reigning champion, came into this one, looked to be a bit frightened. Rolling out of the way, rolling out of the ring, buying his time with PB Smooth. I can't blame him. PB Smooth is a giant. PB Smooth is a monster. He's a force to be reckoned with. But Matt Connard, not carrying himself to the caliber of a grand champion, that we call him here, hiding and avoiding PB Smooth. PB Smooth eventually got a hold of him, and the damage became devastating.
I'm sorry, you're going to make me vomit in my mouth. Did you say hiding, not living to the caliber of a grand champion? Let me ask you this question. Did Matt Connor disappear into the back and just win, or just retain the title via count out and just have PB Smooth win from a disqualification? No. From a count out? No.
As I just stated, they got back into the ring. They butt heads. They hit hard. There was a lot of action in this ring. PB Smooth demonstrating, though, the force that he is by kicking out of a chair shot. Again, another illegal, dirty, underhanded tactic from Matt Connard. He also kicked out of Matt Connard's reverse DDT, which I don't believe we've ever seen before. PB Smooth had his eyes on the prize. He wanted to gain the championship, but eventually he failed to do so when we discovered that Matt Connard is in cahoots with System Elite.
I don't think it's one of the things, and you talked about me being blind in some of the previous episodes or previous segments.
Yeah, I just told you that 2 minutes ago.
Yeah, well, let's say that you were blind because here's where fake news spreads at. Number one, it wasn't a chair shot. It was a simple use of a tool that Matt Connard has.
You're right. It wasn't a chair shot. It was a title belt.
Okay.
Same thing.
No,
it's an illegal weapon, a foreign object.
No, does he not own it? Is he not the champion? It's a tool. It's like everything else.
Ownership does not give you the right to use it as a weapon in the wrestling ring.
Do you wrestle with boots on? Do you own those boots? Do you kick people in the face?
You don't
with those
take
boots?
them off and hit them with that's a disqualification. I've seen disqualifications from that. I've seen people use their own personal weapons, whether they're a 2x4 or a guitar or a steel chair, and when you use them in a match, you get disqualified.
Did he get disqualified? That's my question.
He did not get disqualified.
I feel like that this is a segment that we talk about every time. This is a theme of it where I say it's not cheating. As a champion, let me go back to this real quick because I want to play devil's advocate here. You say that Matt Connard was running. He was scared. There's a difference between being scared and prepared. When you have a giant like PB Smooth, and when you are the champion, you don't play by the level of a challenger, of a peasant. No matter how big or how small they are, particularly with me, I don't favor anyone. In the light of a champion like the great Matt Connard.
So you're saying PB Smooth, by kicking out of a weapon strike and a finishing move, was wrestling like a peasant, and Matt Connard, by hiding and avoiding action, was wrestling like the champion.
He wasn't being scared. He was being prepared. It's not hiding. He was in plain sight. It's doing things on your own time. You should know this already, the Academy. We've both been in multiple hundreds of matches combined, each other, individuals all across the state, both of us. You should understand a simple thing like this, and whether you've been in a ring or not, when you're a wrestler, the name of the game is wrestle in your pace. If you're in your timing, you have a higher percentage of winning, let alone when you have a title. I think it was a smart move for Matt Connard.
Okay, well then do you justify the ending? The interference, the 2 title belts coming in from System Elite, showing that there's a new alliance. Matt Connard, who turned out to be the getaway driver last time for System Elite to get away with those championship belts, which the Rev claims that they earned. I say that they stole. And I think System Elite helped Matt Connard steal the title this time around.
So you think if they didn't get involved, then perhaps PB Smooth will be the new RYSE Grand Champion. Is that what you're trying to tell me?
Take out the word perhaps, and yes.
Listen, we cannot disagree with
PB Smooth was kicking out of everything Matt Connard could deliver.
I mean, he's a giant. He's a freak of nature. But at the same time, when it came down to it, hey, friends do what friends do. If I see someone getting jumped and it's a friend of mine, I'm going to help out. If I feel like they're being mistreated, I'm going to help them out. There's a lot of times.
How was Connard being jumped? He was in a competition, and he was the one bending the rules and doing dastardly deeds. he was not being jumped.
I'm glad you asked this question. How many times does an opponent get out the ring and the ref tells them, stay in the ring, let me just count? Did PB Smooth stay in the ring? No. He went out and tried to bring the fight to Matt Connor instead of giving Matt enough time to get back in and do things on his own pace. Why? Because he has seniority as a champion. That's what it means by getting jumped and having an unfair disadvantage, and his great Finn System Elite come to his rescue and help him out.
That's a fresh take I've never heard before. The guy who leaves the ring is perfectly within his means, but the guy who follows him out of the ring is not justified.
No, how about this?
That's the Rev's analysis of wrestling for you guys. I'm sorry, System Elite and Matt Connor showing their evil alliance here. The dark side came out for all three of them. We'll see what happens at RYSE Wrestling going forward. It turns out the Grindhouse, System Elite, Matt Connor, all wreaking havoc. RYSE Wrestling, I think, is under attack, under threat, and the Rev...
There needs to be control, and it starts with you leaving this place.
The Rev, I guess, is totally cool with all of that, but has a problem with me analyzing it.
Call him my limo driver.
He has a problem with my analysis, but you guys can catch us here next month, 1952 University Drive, at the Stronghold, the old cinema, and watch us every... Are you coming back on? Watch us every single night here on Armstrong Cable. I am DK Abel. This is the Rev Ron Hunt. Good night.
Everyone at Armstrong Cable, the Rev Ron Hunt here. Unfortunately, my limo driver is late. The multi-universe man?
The one-man multiverse.
One-man multiverse, DK Abel. We are still here with each other, Ebony and Ivory, and you know it. Here is your RYSE Wrestling Match of the Week.
Being brought to you by IndieWrestling.us, the Indie Wrestling Network, and of course Sidekick Media in association with Smart Mark Video. My name's Jim Amata, joined by the legendary Paul Atlas. And right now we have two young guns in the wrestling business, Zach Thomas, Trey Lamar, and there's that ultra aggression I was talking about. Nice leverage maneuver by Trey Lamar. Lamar is known for his speed and agility. He's going to have to stick and move here, because if he gets boxed in by Zach Thomas, it's going to be a short RYSE debut. Up and over goes Trey. Nice leapfrog from Thomas. And a nice leverage maneuver from Trey Lamar, taking advantage of the situation.
Caught that leg going over, drove him right into the canvas, but there you see Zach Thomas countering in the very same fashion.
Picked the ankle there. Drop down from Lamar. Up and over. What agility. Beautifully done.
Planted those 2 feet right on the chin of Zach Thomas.
And Paul, the last time we saw Zach Thomas in this building, he was in a barn burner contest against Atticus Cogar. But tonight, he has BC Steel in his corner.
Yeah,
what role will that play in this matchup?
That's the wild card in this matchup. You never know what that little insufferable jerk is going to do.
Thomas avoids the contact.
Heavy spine buster.
And Thomas just drove Lamar into the canvas, hooks the leg. I'll tell you what, Paul. Zach Thomas had a tremendous showing in that matchup against Atticus last month. However, it was Zach Thomas that was defeated at the end of the night.
Yeah, that is true. And, you know, those two are no strangers to each other.
The dynamic could completely change here with BC Steel at ringside.
Again, like I said, he's the wild card. You never know what he's going to do. You never know what he's going to add or take away from at any given time. And one thing's for sure, if you're going to be in charge of BC Steels, he expects you to win at all costs.
I said it in the opening moments of this matchup, and I'm going to say it again. Zach Thomas, a dangerous man, being led to the ring by a dangerous mind in BC Steel. as you saw Thomas throw all his weight into that.
Yeah,
And something as simple as an Irish whip is now an offensive maneuver for Zach Thomas.
No wasted motion with Zach Thomas. He uses leverage, he uses his power, and he uses his agility when he puts in every single move he does.
Lackadaisical cover there will not get it done against Trey Lamar. He is a dynamic young athlete, and it could be a matter of time before we're watching Trey Lamar on national television. So it's certainly great to have him here in the Stronghold, but this is not the name you want to draw for a RYSE debut. However, Trey Lamar saw an opportunity. He knows the stage that RYSE provides for rising young talent, no pun intended.
You know, a victory here tonight over Zach Thomas will instantly catapult him right into the mix.
Zach Thomas is really like a cyclone in there, man. He just will bulldoze over anyone in his path.
I've seen a lot of ultra-aggressive competitors in my day, but none.
Big mid-ring collision. Thomas hurling his body as a weapon.
Yeah, I've seen some ultra-aggressive individuals in this business, but none with the tenacity and the amount of aggression that Zach Thomas has. This man walks around with a chip on his shoulder 24/7.
Oh, it's no secret that Thomas grew up now using his own head as a weapon. He grew up in a very unstable family environment. He has felt like he has been, quote-unquote, at war with society. And he may find some solace in the guidance of BC Steel. And quite frankly, hate him or hate him, BC Steel has made champions wherever he's gone.
You can't take that away from him. Maybe he can find a way to...
Double stomp by Lamar. Wrestling with a sense of urgency. Lamar knew he was in trouble, sustained a lot of punishment, and took a chance. And now we're at a virtual stalemate here, Paul.
Both men struggling to even get up off the mat, let alone to their feet.
A real turning point here in this contest. The first man at their feet could have a definitive advantage here.
5 minutes gone by, 5 minutes.
And here's Lamar with that stick and move strategy. Continuous motion, all action for Trey Lamar. Beautiful payway kick. You heard the contact.
Yeah, he's definitely got Zach Thomas on Dream Street right now.
Right to the back of the head, and Thomas is quite literally on the ropes. Lamar is pressing the advantage. And you heard the contact again. Thomas better be checking his teeth. Springboard, clothesline, hooks the leg.
That was as close as they come there. Trey Lamar is definitely taking the upper hand here. He's got to press this advantage, though, because you give Zach Thomas even one little opening, he's going to take it.
And this Lamont Furnace crowd responding very well to Trey Lamar. Thomas shrugs him off, follows him in, buried the knee into the midsection. And again, nowhere for Lamar to go. And now this is where Thomas will look to meticulously pick apart the opposition. Lamar avoids the contact. Elevates Thomas. Thomas out the back door. And did you see the head ricochet on impact there?
Every ounce of his being and body put into those strikes.
Lamar looking to fly. Tope. And the young athlete is willing to take a chance.
He better stay on top of Zach Thomas, because like I've said before, you give Zach even the smallest opening, he's going to take it.
And Lamar's showing wisdom beyond his years. He knows that he can only win this matchup in the ring. Springboard flatliner, innovative offense. And again, Thomas gets the shoulder up, to your point earlier, Paul. A very tenacious young athlete.
Yeah, but each one of those counts are getting closer and closer to that 3. Right now, advantage Trey Lamar, without a doubt.
Even BC Steel looks a little concerned at ringside. And this is where that extra set of eyes can benefit Thomas. BC letting Zach Thomas know where Lamar is. And Thomas was prepared. Thomas rolls through.
Look at the strength here now, though. Picking him up off the mat.
Plants him across the knee. Falcon arrow down to the canvas yet again. But you want to talk about guts, Lamar again knows this is his RYSE debut, an opportunity.
Both men trying to get up now. Zach Thomas, the first up. He's rolling Lamar over. Trying to set him up here.
And you can see this matchup taking its toll. This is what RYSE Pro Wrestling brings you. Two young athletes putting it on the line here. High risk situation here.
Both men up there trying to vie for position.
This is dangerous here, Paul.
Big superplex coming up.
Crashing to the canvas.
Look at Lamar roll through. But wait a minute.
Brain buster.
What a beautiful counter by Zach Thomas.
Lamar got planted right on the back of his head.
And again, for about the 6th or 7th time in this match, both gentlemen fighting to get up off the canvas.
You heard the contact there.
Heavy, heavy right hand. Oh, followed by a couple of heavy elbows by Lamar.
He charges. Oh, look out.
Whoa.
Thomas,
through.
shoulders down. And he got him.
him.
Just one slip.